Sideline. Keenum keeps, flips, pass, caught, touchdown, Stanton.
Here comes Chris Taylor. What a night tonight.
2-2. That's deep left center. Chris Taylor. Not one, not two, but three. Chris Taylor. The night of his life.
Chris Taylor, the night of his life, indeed. This is interesting to see your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling and fantasy football. Chris Taylor, Los Angeles Dodgers right there. Third home run of the game as the Dodgers annihilate the Atlanta Braves. There is an H in annihilate, so I pronounced that correctly. The Dodgers win 11-2 in what's called a bullpen game. For those of you that have not been paying attention to the annoying baseball fights happening on Twitter, they do these things called bullpen games where they have an opener, which is a guy just supposed to get through the first couple batters, and then they just pitch the bullpen. The opener for the Dodgers got hurt, et cetera, whatever. The Braves got a 2-run homer from the first inning and then got shut out. Chris effing Taylor, man. What a game from Chris Taylor. He had, let's see if I can get this correct. Facts are important. Chris Taylor, who plays third base and hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th in the lineup, or 7th in the lineup, was 4 for 5, with 6 RBI, and 3, count them, 3 home runs. 3 home run games in the postseason off the top of my head. Pablo Sandoval, Pujols did it. I don't remember who else. But shouts to Chris Taylor. The Dodgers want to keep playing baseball. The Red Sox, is that game tonight? Let's find out. Red Sox. Yes, 8:08 p.m. on a Friday night. Last night on Thursday Night Football, the Cleveland Browns beat the Denver Broncos in what was just a snooze fest. The Broncos, they have had injuries here and there, but they had their starting quarterback. They had some starting players, and they lost to Case Keenum and the third-string running back who ran all over them. The 2 running backs for Cleveland are elite running backs. They have the best running back tandem in the NFL by far. They probably have the second best running back, and he's backed up probably by the 9th best running back. But the third-string guy was in because of injuries, and he went off. D'Ernest Johnson, 22 carries for 146 yards and a touchdown. Case Keenum was 21 of 33 for 199. And to score, the Broncos started the season 3-0. The teams that they played at that time were a combined 0-9. And I believe, off the top of my head, let's see, the Jets now have 1 win. The Jags now have 1 win. And I think, I forget who the third team was, but they're utter trash, the Broncos. Oh, they beat the Giants. Do the Giants have a win? The Giants have a win. The only team that doesn't have a win is the Lions. The Giants have wins. So now those teams that were 0-9 are something like a combined 3 and math is hard. 15? Yeah, so the Broncos are trash. Vic Fangio should be fired. Let's take a look at the football weekend. Let's start by listening to this video that I saw Jeff Schwartz take on the internet. This is a USC player named, I don't know, I can't see that closely, and he is talking about going to Indiana for the first time.
Been to Indiana?
Never.
It's going to be cold.
Oh, really?
Prepare yourself.
What's the temp?
I think it's a high of like 6.
Uh-huh.
No,
I think it's going to be
low
like
of
40s.
40.
I think it's 40s.
Yeah, when you guys play.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
because
be
it's a 7 game.
40?
Been to Indiana?
Jeff Schwartz says, I'd like to put money on Notre Dame this weekend. They're a much better team, but also that guy's just being dramatic because they got the camera on him. Because he plays in the Pac-12 where there are coastal cities, and it gets freezing cold in Seattle. Seattle is a cold city, so that is utter garbage. Let's talk about some college football. Talk about Nebraska, and they have their sellout streak is like something like 400 games they've sold out. Well, this weekend, the Cornhuskers have a buy one get one free sale for Purdue tickets. That's how badly they want to, quote, sell out the game, is they have a buy one get one sale. Yikes, guys. I mean, your program is trash. The New York Knickerbockers started their season on Thursday night. Let's listen to how New York fans acted, probably rationally. This is after one game. They went to the playoffs last year, and they won one game in the playoffs. And now this is after one game in the regular season.
Double fucking overtime! What the fuck, baby?
Yeah.
New York is fucking back!
They're not back. Okay. They're not back. They might be kind of back, but they're not back. Real quick basketball story, then we'll finally get to football. So we discussed this Ben Simmons thing. The only way that this works is that if he commits consistent conduct detrimental to the team that could cut him theoretically with no roster implications. However, or salary cap implications. However, yesterday, the CEO or the GM or someone of the Sixers said very clearly, like, yeah, we're chill doing this for 4 years, Ben. You want to waste your prime, you waste your prime. So they're going to pay him to be a little baby, but they're going to just keep suspending him at will, I suppose. If you're not doing anything tonight, the Sixers play the Nets at 7 or 8, or I don't know, they're lying to us because who the hell knows what time the actual tip-off is, but Google says coverage starts at 7:30. The NBA is the worst league in the world at lying about what time things start. Okay, effing football time. Let's talk about football. The big story this weekend is Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Michael Brocker, Sean McVay, and Brad Holmes. It's Detroit versus LA, and probably rock bottom for the Detroit Lions. I would imagine the Lions have yet to win a game. They're playing one of the Super Bowl favorites against their former quarterback, who they released out into the wild to be free and happy. In the trade, they got the Rams quarterback back. Of course, Jared Goff. Goff has been utter garbage for the Lions. He's been occasionally really good, but his mistakes have just been bad. So Jared Goff right now with bad receivers and an okay offensive line against his former team, he has not been taking risks. He has not been throwing the ball down the field. He just hasn't been playing quarterback. And now against his former team, he's essentially fighting for his career. If he doesn't finish this season strong, nobody will want to trade for him. Nobody will sign him for anything more than a couple million a year. He will be a backup quarterback this time next year, probably. The Lions, I mean, they can't. Be better to just eat the salary cap situation. While on the opposite side of the field, Matthew Stafford, who objectively had better weapons at multiple times in Detroit, multiple times. Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, Reggie Bush, they were fine. Brandon Pettigrew, they're fine. Anquan Bolden, Marvin Jones, again, like they're fine. He finally has an offensive head coach, and things are going really well for them. He's basically the best quarterback in the NFL right now from a passing the football standpoint, and that's according to various graphs I see on Twitter. Because Matthew Stafford is my ex, I will tell you that I don't think that he is going to want to be in this game for long. I think the Rams are going to try to get up 21 or 20, and then they're just going to run the ball, and Matt Stafford is just going to want to get out of there as quickly as possible. I don't expect much of a fight from Jared Goff. I don't know what kind of person he is, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to rise to the occasion. But that's the storyline everyone's talking about. This game kicks at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is in Los Angeles. Obviously, the Rams are favored by 16. I like the Lions to cover. If I wasn't a fan, I would bet on this game, but because I'm a fan, I have a moratorium. I'll tell you why. The Lions are a backdoor covering machine. Because when you're up big, you just want to get out of there, so you allow your opponent to pass the ball underneath and run the ball underneath. You give up chunks of 6 to 12 yards over and over. Your opponent will often score because that's bad defense. But at that point in time, you're just trying to get healthy and just get the hell out of there. The Rams also have the two best players on defense in the world in Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. And they're going to want to sit those guys. If they get up 21 at some point in the third quarter, I can see one touchdown. I think the Rams are up so let's just say the Rams are up 31-3, which is 28, right? And the spread is 16. There's no doubt that in the fourth quarter, the Lions could pop off two quick touchdowns. DeAndre Swift hits a home run, TJ Hawkinson, and all of a sudden it's a one-touchdown game. The over hits. The over-under is 50.5. I love the Lions to cover. But I'm a Lions fan, and therefore I am not legally permitted to gamble on them because I will lose my ass. The slate this weekend blows. Not a lot of stuff, except for those of you that really start to hate when favorites start to get all of the attention. I think there's a chance that Derrick Henry murders the Kansas City Chiefs. I think there's a chance he snatches their souls. They have the worst rush defense in their division and one of the 5 worst rush defenses in the NFL. They're not big in the middle. They're built to stop the pass. They're built to stop their own offense. Well, Derrick Henry doesn't play offense that way. Derrick Henry is essentially an anvil dropped from the sky. He runs straight and he kills people. There's no attempt to juke. He doesn't seek contact. He runs straight to the end zone. The Chiefs can't stop him. It's not that they're not going to try or that they're not smart enough. They're just not physically capable of stopping him. The spread on that game is Kansas City minus 4.5. That is a sucker line. Bet the money line. Tennessee wins outright. Don't worry about them covering the spread. They're going to win that game outright. Jets and Patriots. Patriots are favored by 7. I smell a rat here. I think that the Jets are going to fight harder, but I'm too scared of Bill Belichick. No, thank you. Washington football team are 8-point underdogs on the road in Green Bay. That sounds all right. I'm scared of the Packers. Eagles and Raiders. The Raiders should roll. I think the Raiders are favored by 3. I like them to cover. I think they'll win big. The Eagles. If they had a quarterback, they'd probably be competitive for their division, but they don't. The Bears are playing the Bucks. I love the Bears to win this game outright. It's plus 500. It's one of the biggest lines of the weekend for the underdog. The spread is 12.5, but Tampa might be out of Antonio Brown. Their cornerback situation is bad. This could be the game on the standalone Sunday afternoon game where Justin Fields breaks out. When I text my friend, I'm going to tell him to hammer the Bears money line. And maybe the spread, just as a little bit of a hedge. Just as a little bit of a hedge. The primetime games are utter ass. Here we go. Colts and Niners, don't care. The New Orleans Saints are playing the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football. Again, I don't care. Geno Smith versus Jameis Winston. By that time, on Monday night, I'm not sure I'll be that invested in the game just because of the weekend and everything. And that game is just, it doesn't feel like there are implications. The Seahawks feel like they're packing it in, and that Russell Wilson could be on the trade block. The Colts are 2-4. They traded for Carson Wentz, and if they lose this game, they're going to have serious conversations about benching him. The Niners are 2-3, and there's a line from the newsroom where in the opening scene of the newsroom, which many of you have watched, it's got like 10 million views on YouTube, where he makes an impassioned argument about how America's not the greatest country in the world anymore, but it could be, et cetera, et cetera. There's a line in there that I love, and I use it when it's appropriate. And that line is, he's talking about Democrats and Republicans, and if you'll excuse my language, he goes, if liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? If the Niners are so smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? Kyle Shanahan doesn't draft guys that he actually wants. He drafts guys that he thinks that he wants, then they don't turn out to do. They have multiple second-round picks that he's not even starting because he just doesn't like them anymore. They signed Jimmy Garoppolo instead of listening to their scouts, who I would hope for the love of God told them that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson would be good. And then they drafted the only real bust in the first round that year, which was Solomon Thomas. And I don't even know who the hell he plays for now. In the 3rd overall pick. And Kyle Shanahan, for being such a genius, man, they lose a lot of games. This Colts and Niners, I'm going to call it the narrative bowl, because everybody thinks they're such good organizations. The Colts are cheap and the Niners are sniffing their own buttholes. I think they're trash. I think they're absolute trash. Thursday Night Football is a great one. This is an NFC Championship preview. The Green Bay Packers are headed to the desert to play the Arizona Cardinals. That game is going to be litty. I love that. Let's look into college football. We talked about Notre Dame, USC. I think Notre Dame is going to win. I think it'll be close. I don't think Notre Dame is particularly good at football this year, but they're a stable program. So when you're a stable program, much like Utah, you beat the teams you should beat. You lose to the teams that are better than you. And in years like this, those teams include probably about 20 teams that are arguably better than Notre Dame. Last year, there were probably 5-ish that could beat them. So they'll beat USC. That game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Yeah, that used to be a rivalry. People used to care about that game. Let's go through the ranked schedule right now, see if there's anything interesting. There isn't. App State upset Coastal Carolina. We talked about that. SMU upset Tulane. That happened, or they beat Tulane by 25. That happened last night. Cincinnati plays Navy. Ooh, Navy's not doing so well, and what's his name might be fired, but they're gonna break some kneecaps for sure. Penn State plays Illinois. That should be an ass whooping. Northwestern, they used to be good. Pat Fitzgerald probably should have taken one of those NFL jobs. Oklahoma's on the road at Kansas. Spencer Rattler has removed the University of Oklahoma from his Instagram bio because we all care about that a lot. Wake Forest is on the road at Army. That's another sneaky upset situation for a ranked team playing an academy. Let's see if the old Demon Deacons up in Western New York, Eastern New York, wherever, West Point, Eastern New York, Northern New York City, whatever. The old Demon Deacons, if they disciplined enough to handle that. Oh, Wisconsin at Purdue. What is the line for Wisconsin at Purdue? Hold on. Let's go Control F. Wisconsin. Wisconsin is favored by 3.5. Yeah. Yeah, Purdue is ranked because they haven't played anybody, and then they had that one big upset against Iowa. They called bullshit on Iowa, and that was awesome. Good for them. But, man, I was going to say, just because there's a number 25 next to your name on Google doesn't mean that you're favored. I love Wisconsin in that game. I think Wisconsin rolls Purdue. By rolls, I mean 21-10. Clemson's on the road at Pittsburgh. Wow. Oh, wow. See if Clemson can go on the road and upset a ranked opponent. Holy crap. This slate sucks. The best game of the weekend is LSU at Mississippi, the Ole Miss University, because Ed Orgeron used to coach at Ole Miss. They were like, wow, you actually suck at this, and they fired him in 5 minutes. But he was there long enough to make an appearance on the blind side. He then was the interim coach at your local university, which could have included LSU, could have included USC, and I think Miami. I forget. He's been everywhere. And now he's the interim coach at LSU again, which is hilarious. Ole Miss is ranked 12th in the country. In reality, Ole Miss is probably a top 30-ish team in the country, but they have the best player in the country, or best quarterback in the country, probably, I don't know, 7th or 8th best player in the country. And Matt Corral in the quarterback position is important. So that game should be interesting. There will be an ass ton of points. It'll be awesome. Oregon on the road at UCLA. Remember UCLA came out the gate and they're like the best team in the country. And like, hey, maybe they're going to the college football playoff. And since then they've been garbage. That game should be kind of interesting. Oregon's going to be playing for their college football lives. They cannot lose another one. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. Iowa State, same thing as UCLA. Tennessee's at Alabama. RIP. San Diego State's at Air Force. Ooh, really? Let's we're going to click on the thing and Control F, and then let's go with San Diego State at Air Force. Yes, Air Force are favored. I'm so good at calling bullshit on this. That line is exactly what I thought it would be, so I can't bet it, but I know my stuff. I like Air Force to beat San Diego State, of course. Anything else interesting? No, there are no interesting games this weekend. I'm just going to power through this schedule. The University of Texas San Antonio, who's ranked because we don't know what to do with the rankings and we're bored. Ohio State's at Indiana. That sucks because when Indiana gets a good team between the hours of noon and 3, they can piss them off. But if they don't beat them by 3 p.m., that team comes back and beats them. This game's at 7:30, so Ohio State's going to use that opportunity to remind everyone that they have a much bigger salary cap than everybody else. NC State's on the road at Miami. NC State's a well-coached football team with good, hard-working players. That's a good program. Pardon me. And Notre Dame, USC. South Carolina's on the road at Texas A&M. Who the hell knows what Texas A&M actually is? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I suppose yesterday the people were calling it the sports equinox, and I haven't done any research into this because I'm trying to live my life. But that being said, people said that yesterday was a sports equinox, and I saw a tweet, and I'm trying to find the exact tweet. It was a screenshot of a tweet, which is a dick move. Give the guy the notifications, please. Oh, it's from BetMGM. All 4 major sports are on today for just the 25th time ever. Is that right? 25th? So Thursday Night Football probably made this super possible. There's only 4 teams playing at this point in time in baseball. The NHL and the NBA have played on, they're perpetually on at the same time. And then the NFL, those 3 are easy, but I guess baseball is the outlier. I suppose that's a positive thing. Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this, but I just am. Does that seem like BS to you? Kind of seems like BS to me. All right, let's wrap up. But I just want to wrap up by looking at the next week of college football because for the love of God, next week's going to be awesome. I'm going to give you a little narrative to watch. It was announced on Tuesday that Michigan and Michigan State, the game would kick off on noon. And for those of us that follow a bunch of Michigan people on Twitter because they're a Detroit Lions fan, watching Michigan and Michigan State people get pissed off because their game kicks off at noon was essentially porn to me. It was utter hilarity. Michigan State is off this weekend, but they're so mad that the game kicks off at noon. You got a top 10 matchup kicking off at noon. Well, Joe Buck is going to be calling the World Effing Series. So you will eat your vegetables, children. No one cares. You're both going to lose to Penn State, Ohio State, and one of you will lose to a loser school like Maryland. I don't know who it will be, but it will be one of you. Are there any other good matchups? Are we going to play good football this year, please? Oh, shit. Yes, next week it's going down in the Big Ten. All right. So things are happening now. Things are happening. We're safe. We just have to make it through one more weekend of utter trash football with 6 teams on byes in the NFL and then whatever this is in college football. Next weekend, things are getting sorted out in the Big Ten because the primetime game, this is why they were jealous. I knew there was an underlying reason. They're jealous because Penn State and Ohio State, they have the night game at ESPN, as it should be. 2 of these things are not like the others. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Interesting to See. Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, defensive tackle, Michael Brockers, all the trays between the Rams and the Lions. We'll see if Dan Campbell can get his troops to win one for Jared, who's been just shat on by Sean McVay. And we're going to make it through this college football slate, I promise. It's going to be fun. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Force everybody in your life to... They don't have to listen. Just make them subscribe and download it. Just 60 seconds. That's all it takes to save a life. I'll be back in better than ever Monday morning.